right, welcome back to our Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee, known as FAB, chaired by myself, Commissioner Ted Terry. We're joined by committee members Commissioner Shakira Johnson and Commissioner Michelle Long-Spears will be right back with us. Committee members, let's take our meeting minutes from the last two meetings, 1795 and 1796.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was on the wrong agenda. Yes, I move to approve items 1795 and 1796.
All right, I'll second. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. All right, let me bring up Ms. Kathleen Andrews. Come on to that first. Yep, good to see you, Kathleen. And we are here to interview you as one of the appointees to the DeKalb County Board of Tax Assessors. So we just have sort of these preset questions, and we'll try to be brief since we've got a full agenda. But I'll just go and kick us off, Ms. Andrews. Tell us more about yourself, your personal and or professional experiences that prepared you to serve on the DeKalb County Board of Assessors. And if I can get everyone in the room to quiet the talk a little bit, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Terry and Commissioner Johnson. I am a resident of DeKalb County for 46 years. I moved here from New York City. I have been involved in real estate for over 25 years because I moved to Scottsdale, Georgia in 1999. And I don't know if you all have seen my resume, but I have been an entrepreneur most of my life, which means I have no retirement. So the retirement that I formed for myself was to move to Scottsdale, Georgia in '99, and I began buying properties in 2001. That has taught me a great deal because in 2001, Scottsdale was a very different community than it is today, with $900,000 homes, new construction homes being built. And it was primarily a mill town. It was an area that the Scottsdale Mills, a lot of the employees lived in the houses, and the houses were very much in need of repair. So I've learned not only how to be ahead of the curve, I call myself the nose of the dog rather than the tail when it comes to real estate, because I see opportunities before they're coming. And part of in learning what I've learned in Scottsdale, I then was involved in the rezoning of Scottsdale for the Scottsdale Overlay District, that started in the mid-2000s when Commissioner Gannon was working on that. So I learned the rezoning, and I also do commercial real estate. I became a realtor roughly 12 years ago. So now I sell legacy land holdings for people who have had land in their families for generations. And it's fascinating to me because now the people who are coming to me to represent them, that's their retirement income. So I go from residential to commercial to assemblages, and I love real estate. It's been very good to me. I have rental property that I manage, and part of potentially being appointed to the tax assessors board is the fact that it's always a challenge to have affordable housing that's in good condition, that people can afford, as well as pay the taxes, pay the insurance, and everything that keeps escalating. It's like, I don't have juggler yet on my resume, but that's my next thing I need to learn to do. So I think after 26 years of being involved in real estate, I can bring a lot to the position. Okay. Should I be appointed.
Okay, excellent. You probably answered a couple more of our questions, but I'll, and just in the interest of time, committee members, I'll just ask you all just pick your one question to ask, and so I'll recognize Commissioner Shakira Johnson to ask her question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's good to see you again, ma'am.
Yes, thank you very much. Nice to see you, Commissioner.
We met on the parade route for Scottsdale Day last year.
We did meet on the parade route.
Yes. I'm actually going to go to that second question Particularly, how do you view the role of board member versus the role of the chief appraiser or the appraisal staff?
I think that would be something I would have to learn, because the chief appraiser is obviously, much like our Madam CEO, they set the rules and guidelines for the appraisal. I think being on the board is to help follow their guidance.
Understood. All right, I yield. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Michelle Long-Spears, for your question.
Thank you, sir. What questions have been done already? I was
first
a few
two.
minutes late. Okay, thank you. I'll do the third. Why are you interested in serving on the DeKalb County Board of Tax Assessors, and what do you view as the primary mission of the board? Second part of that question, how do your personal values and professional background align with the board's core values of service, integrity, collaboration, and innovation?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a lot.
Mouthful.
It's okay. I'm creative. I wouldn't have survived for 72 young years if I wasn't creative. I have reinvented my career like, I don't know, 5 times. So I look to the future, and I think I may not know a lot about the responsibilities, but I've always wanted to be of service, and I'm at a point in my life where I'm not working constantly. I only work 12 hours a day. But I think that it would allow me to help implement a lot of what I see as forward challenges that DeKalb County may have. Being from New York, I don't want to see people displaced from their homes because of taxes. And when you talk about integrity, the first house I bought in Scottsdale is a little house. It's an Army barrack on the corner of Hempstead and Decatur Avenue. And the people who owned it were willing to owner finance it for me. They wanted $45,000. And they lived in Fairburn or Fayetteville. At the time, it had been a family home that mill people had lived in. And I said, I can't pay you $45,000. And they said, well, what do you want to pay? And I said, I've got to pay you $50,000 to $55,000 because you don't know what's going to happen to Scottsdale. Now, was I a little bit crazy? They called me the crazy lady. But the reality is I was honest with people. And sometimes that honesty is also integrity, because never would I have realized I paid $53,000. And that one act, because at that time in 2001, nobody was really buying property in Scottsdale. So I would come home I had a cleaning and home management business, primarily in Buckhead. And I would come home, and people from Scottsdale were sitting on my back porch saying, are you the crazy lady buying property? I'm like, yes. So I think we have to be aware of treating everyone equally and making sure that people with Wall Street money don't come into neighborhoods and decimate them. And that's something that is, I think, I don't know how if that's part of what the Tax Assessors Board gets involved in, but I think it is a challenge everywhere around our country right now.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Andrews, for answering that. And I'll ask the final question here, which is just the standard. Are there any potential conflicts of interest, extenuating circumstances, or reasons for recusal that could affect your ability to serve fully and impartially on the DeKalb County Board of Tax Assessors?
I'm not aware of any at this time.
Okay. All right. That sounds great.
And I
Thank
am a
you.
licensed realtor.
Okay.
So I do have a code of ethics I follow.
Understand. Thank you for sharing that. Commissioner Patrick, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions, Mr. Chair. Just noting, reading through your resume, very impressive, very much a go-getter. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. I'm exhausted, but I'm only on a third of I've got another many years to go, hopefully. Thank you.
Those 12-hour days can catch up. I understand.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we need you for at least 4, because I think that's a 4-year term. So appreciate you committing to that.
I'm in good health, by the way.
Okay, we'll add that to the list of questions to ask in the future, just to make sure. So, all right, well, thank you, Ms. Andrews. We'll let you leave now. We'll come back at the end of the meeting to vote on your recommendation for
Thank you very
appointment.
much, Commissioners.
Thank you. All right. Commissioners, let's take a couple of these agenda items next, and we'll get back to the discussions. Let's take item 1506. This is to approve a resolution to ensure that the county's judges receive the same benefits as the judges of the Superior Court of the DeKalb Judicial Circuit, county employees, and judges in other counties. We have discussed this in previous committee meetings. As I think commissioners know, and it's sort of recognized in this agenda item, earlier this year, we approved a similar resolution for the Superior Court, and the goal here is really just to provide the same level of benefits across all of the DeKalb Judicial Circuit courts. And so with that, would love to open it up for any questions or comments. And Judge Anderson and Judge Jacobs are here also in case there's any questions for them.
I have no questions. I think that this should be advanced to the full board.
Okay. Commissioner Johnson?
I don't think I have any additional questions as well. I didn't know, since the judges were here, if they wanted to actually say something.
I think they're good. Yeah, I think they presented last time, so nothing's really changed since then.
All right. You ready for a motion?
Commissioner Johnson, anything else? Commissioner Patrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm generally comfortable with this. I don't know if somebody wanted to just give us a brief overview. I'm sure it's been well discussed, but just a brief overview of what's being proposed or being asked, which, as I understand it, I'm in totally agreement with it. But if there was county
Yes.
attorney's office or a judge in the hall that might want to speak to it.
Sure, yeah. We'll welcome up one or both of the judges, and if you could briefly describe what we're doing here. Thank you.
Check the.
Hit the button there.
Push the button. Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you all so much for allowing us to be here. You know, it could be dangerous to give two judges the mic. They could be here all afternoon ordering some pizza. No, go ahead, Judge. I'll defer to Judge Jacobs. And
Well, you have my permission to overrule us if we take too long. So, so as you'll recall, a resolution was passed by the commission back in June for the Superior Court judges to provide certain benefits to that group of judges. After that point, we interacted with actually a number of commissioners about doing something similar for the rest of the county's courts. One of the things we were implored to do was to talk across the remaining classes of court, so state court, magistrate court, probate court, and juvenile court, to come to an agreement about what makes the most sense in terms of that group of benefits that was provided to Superior Court judges for those other classes of court. We did exactly that. We got everyone to the table, including the Superior Court, because for juvenile court, Superior Court has to approve any sort of additional compensation or benefits for the juvenile court judges. We have their full approval on that. That's a statutory matter, that requirement of approval by the Superior Court judges. And so the benefits that are provided are longevity pay, which is one of the benefits that was provided in the resolution of the Superior Court judges. That would be to all of those classes of courts. The reimbursement of pension benefits in an amount equal to what has been provided to the Superior Court judges for state court, magistrate court, and I believe that one also applies to probate court. Yeah, that's right. And then, in addition, an accountability court supplement of $5,400. That's 90% of the Superior Court, the old Superior Court $6,000 number. That would be provided to state court and the magistrate court as the two courts that operate and are actively working on supplementing, that currently operate accountability programs and are currently actively working on supplementing those programs with some additional programs that we're excited to continue meetings about in the new year. So, but that's the group of benefits that's provided in the resolution. I will note that the last version of the resolution I have had an effective date of November 1st. Obviously, that needs to be changed since we're past that date, but that's an overview of the resolution.
Great, thank you, Judge. Commissioner Patrick?
One word might be parity between the
Yes.
different judges. And I think that that's a fair notion. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, great, thank you. All right, seeing no other comments or questions? Oh, do you have a question?
I do have a
Go
question.
ahead, Commissioner
Judge
Johnson.
Jacobs made the good point of the effective date. Do we need to address that in the
yes.
action to be taken?
Yes, if, I think in your motion, if we do move this forward to the board, just ask the law department to update the resolution with the appropriate date, effective date. When presumably when we pass it would be the effective date.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Ready for a motion?
Yes.
Motion to approve 1506 with a friendly amendment to update it when we deliberate on this at the Board of Commissioners meeting.
Second.
Okay, great. Thank you. Motion is second. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. All right. Thank you,
Thank you
judges.
very much.
Appreciate your time. All right. Let's go to the Sheriff's Office. Item 1638, Opioid Settlement Grant Award, New Vehicle Purchase for Medicated Assisted Treatment MAT Program. Is the Sheriff's Office here? Zach, do you have any information about this? I know it's a grant, so we probably want to accept it. We probably do want to accept it, I said. Do we know what kind of vehicle it is?
If we can get you more information, my understanding was that this was a continuation of the item that when we approved original funding from the opioid settlement.
Okay.
We've approved the funding, and this is a vehicle. So without the sheriff here, I don't have any details on it, but if we forward it to the full
Oh, I see,
board-
the $620,000 that we approved on July 8th.
Right. But I
Okay.
can get you details on the vehicle between now and Tuesday.
Well, just to keep things moving, I think my only request would be that if we could try to get a hybrid or electric. I believe the sheriff has charging stations, but if we could just get that information
Right. She
from
has
there.
charging stations and a number of electric vehicles. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Committee members, are y'all okay with moving this to the full board with a request that the sheriff select a vehicle, if possible, that would be a hybrid and or electric model, just, in recognition of our policy towards transitioning?
Quick question.
Yes.
When you say move to the full board, do you want to move it out of committee with an approval, or would you rather just simply move it out of a committee with no recommendation?
I'm okay moving forward. Presumably they need this. I don't see a
Yes,
reason why
I believe they do.
we wouldn't want to hold it up. So I'm happy to move if y'all can recommend approval with the suggestion of the vehicle type.
Sure. You ready for a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve item 1638 with a friendly amendment to ensure that the vehicle is electric or hybrid. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Hybrid. Okay. If possible.
Yes.
Second.
Okay. Motion and second. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Zach, would you mind communicating that? Okay. All right. Next is item 1761, the Superior Court. This is the utilization of choice contractors. Did the Superior Court here, Ms. Lenora Hawkins-Ponzo?
So, Commissioner,
Director
I
Butler.
am assisting the
Okay.
Superior Court.
All right.
That item was mistakenly provided. We are actually working with them, and their actual needs have actually started in the process. So, you actually should have never received an agenda item.
Oh, okay. So we're good to withdraw this one?
Yes, that one needs to,
Okay.
you never saw it.
All right. We'll take a motion then.
Move to withdraw item 1761.
Second.
All right, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. All right, moving up to item 1671, purchasing and contracting, statewide contract, long number there for office computer educational furniture for use by Superior Court. Ratifies the statewide contract, 112 jury chairs, 9 remaining county courtrooms upgraded. Chairs will be bolted to the floor, enhanced safety, feature leather upholstery with ergonomic design to provide optimal comfort. That sounds great, Zach. Where are those chairs for us? Anyways, just kidding. These juries sit for a long time, so we'll definitely respect their time. Director Butler.
I don't have anything extra to add, just, up here just in case you have some questions.
Okay, any questions, comments from the committee members? All right, Commissioner Patrick.
I'll just say that Presiding Officer Spears and I attended the E911 tour.
Yes, it was great.
And they evidently have very comfortable chairs for their operators. And I would suggest to the administration that commissioners might like comfortable chairs as well, as we sit here a long time. And
Zach knows.
Great point.
Zach needs
I
one as well.
second that, Commissioner
For the Maloof
Patrick.
Auditorium, we would like some ergonomic chairs to support our health, our back health.
Our back health, yes. Anyway,
All right,
thank you, Mr. Chair.
open the floor for a motion.
Move to approve item 1671.
Second.
All right, motion is second. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, motion carries. All right, let's go to the CEO agenda item. We have a substitute that was presented this morning, 1781. And this is to amend the fiscal year 2025 operating budget. Director Siegler, do you want to just walk us through, I know this is sort of a standard thing you do at the end of the year, so just maybe if you could give us the key highlights, and then we'll open it up for any questions, comments.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As you stated, this is just sort of our cleanup agenda item. So a lot of what you will see is it's adjusting the starting fund balances and the reserves just to make sure that we're in balance for all the various funds that we have. There are a few changes here that I do want to highlight. First, if you go to Schedule A.
Committee members, do y'all have? You got it?
Would you like mine?
You kept yours from this morning, didn't you? Dang it, can I have an extra copy? Zach? Sorry, I did not save my copy. Go ahead, TJ, while he's getting a copy.
Okay. And I'll just run through most of these. I won't spend a lot of time. But general fund, there was an increase to their starting fund balance of $3.4 million. There are various different departments here where they might have a slight projected shortfall where we're adding funding to those. There is funding being added for some capital projects, which are detailed in the Schedule C. And overall, the fund reserves there increased by $2.4 million, almost 2.5. The next fund is the development fund, and so this one we had pretty significant decrease in the fund balance forward based on some of the audit adjustments. And we've also noted that there's been a decrease in the revenue projections for this year. So what we're doing here is we're actually having to subsidize this fund from the unincorporated fund to the tune of $3.7 million. And so to do that and to keep them in balance as well, we're also reducing their budget by $1.4 million, which should not be an issue based on their current spending rate for this year, but it's just this is one of those departments
on Schedule A.
This is one of those funds that we're working with NGT, our consultant, on the user fee study to try to figure out what changes are needed to be able to fund it, where it's able to be self-supporting. PEG fund is just, again, a change in the starting fund balance. Same with the county jail fund. One thing we are doing here is we're moving funds that were in the reserves just to the budget. This fund is just really kind of a pass-through where the funds that are collected are then used to either support the maintenance and operations of the jail. Foreclosure registry fund, again, just a change in the starting fund balance. Victim assistance fund, there's a change in the starting fund balance as well as in the revenues. And then that's just increasing the budget to keep it in balance. Juvenile services fund, again, a change in the starting fund balance. So we're adjusting the reserves and the budget to keep it in balance. streetlight funds. This is another one of those funds, like the development fund, where we're working with the user fee study to try to get the fees in line where we're able to support the operations of the fund. We just had a lot of increases in electricity costs for streetlights, and the fees haven't been updated to support that. So we will be moving funding from the designated services fund to help to subsidize this fund.
TJ, on that real quickly, so are y'all going to recommend an increase in the streetlight tax district?
I believe so.
legislation?
I don't know what that will look like at this point because the consultants are still working on that.
Oh, they
But
are?
that's,
Okay.
we have a meeting with them tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have some preliminary recommendations that we'll be able to incorporate in the 26 budget.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, speed humps fund, again, just changes in the starting fund balance and a slight change in the projected revenues. E911, this is looking at some of their costs and what we think they'll need to close out the year. And we're increasing the transfers from the police fund and the fire fund to help support that. They also had a decrease in their starting fund balance where they ended up in the negative to start the year. The next four funds here are TAD funds, and these are all just adjustments to their starting fund balance. Okay, on page 3 of Schedule A, well, at the top of that is another TAD fund. The fire fund, it's a change in the starting fund balance, as well as that increase for the transfer to 911, and then a decrease to the reserves. Designated Services Fund, there was a slight decrease to the starting fund balance. Here is where we do have a few more changes or more significant changes. Public Works Transportation, there's an increase there. That is also due to increased electricity cost for streetlights, because whatever the streetlight fund cannot cover, we end up covering that out of the Designated Services Fund. Followed by Parks. This is really due to some overages in their part-time and temporary salaries, so we're having to add funds there to just make sure that they end the year in the black. Contributions to capital, again, there's one small capital project that's being funded there. And then non-departmental, that increase there is the transfer to the streetlight fund. So this one, we are having to reduce the fund reserves quite a bit just to cover those overages. So that's something that definitely, as we go into 2026, we'll be looking at being able to replenish those reserves in that fund.
Would you mind sharing later on just how much money we spend on streetlights?
Sure, we can get that information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Police Services Fund, mostly just the changes in the starting fund balance. There is additional $200,000 that's for the transfer to 911 fund, and then a $50,000 contribution to capital. Hotel Motel Fund, fund balance adjustment there. Same with the Rental Motor Vehicle Fund, and we also increased the revenue anticipation just based on actuals so far this year. Countywide Bond Fund, so this is really an inactive fund for debt service, but we do get some residual revenue, and there was a small amount of fund balance left over at the end of last year. So only thing that happens with that is it's $2,000 and will get transferred to the general fund. Then the Building Authority Bond Fund, that's adjusting the starting fund balance. Same with the Public Safety and Judicial Facilities Authority Bond Fund. With the URA Fund, there was an adjustment in fund balance, and we also had to make an adjustment to, I believe, this had to do with some of the costs related to, I think it's 4380 if I have the address. I always get that confused.
Yes, that's right.
Memorial Drive. And then Watershed, there was an increase in their fund balance of about $10.4 million. And there is some additional funding there for some of their debt service payments. So overall, the reserves increased by about $6.2 million. Excuse me, I believe I got a little bit out of order there. So the Department of Watershed Management, I think those are really due to some of the transfers to R&E And then it's the watershed sinking fund, 514, that has some increases for their debt services.
Okay.
Then the 551, airport operating, just an increase in the starting fund balance. Stormwater, another increase in the starting fund balance. Vehicle maintenance fund, increase in the starting fund balance. Vehicle replacement fund, there's quite a big increase there, and that's just because we've had trouble kind of accounting in that fund for how we deal with orders for vehicles because there's such a long lead time, where we've been trying to move that funding into a capital improvements fund just so it doesn't have to roll over all the time. But it's been where we've gotten a little bit hung up is with some of the POs that are outstanding and trying to make sure that we have the funding in the right place for them to be able to fill those orders. So that's a work in progress, trying to get that straightened out. Then risk management fund also had an increase in their starting fund balance, and then workers' compensation had a slight decrease in their fund balance.
Okay. Committee members, commissioners, any questions on Schedule A? Yes, Commissioner Longspears.
Thank you. I appreciate that. TJ, I did have a chance to review this prior to today's meeting. Would it be possible for you to provide the committee members and perhaps all of the commissioners some budget detail on why the change happened or why you're making the recommendation? You have verbally given us a lot of detail today, but I think it would be helpful to myself, just as I go back and review it, and other commissioners that are not present, to understand why you're recommending what you're recommending.
Yes, we can provide that.
Okay, and Commissioner Terry, is this something you want to advance out of committee today and vote in December, since that's the last meeting of the year?
This is closing the books on 2025, so yeah, we need to advance this today.
Can you provide that information to us, say, by Monday at noon?
Definitely going to try. We're also working on trying to get the 26 budget done, but I believe we should be able to.
Okay, all right. I will yield back for now. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson?
Yes. So I'm not going to take the time for specific questions. I still want to review a little bit more, but if I have something, I can shoot you an email. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes, that'd be fine.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Patrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. TJ, this might be a question more appropriate for PWI, but is there a way we can get a review on the sustainability of the Stormwater Management Fund? We have an appropriate amount of reserve. We have enough things in the pipeline that we're spending down that money in an orderly fashion. Again, that's probably more of a PWI question, but since it got floated here, I'm going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I believe the last rate increase, automatic rate increase, was this year. And I think the last presentation from the Stormwater Master Plan showed a leveling off of the fees, but then the expenditures going up and up into the year. So
Yes.
yeah, it'd be great if we could just get a update on sort of the future projections we need.
Right, and I think Mr. Williams just reminded me that Arcadis is working on an update to the fee, the revenue sufficiency study for stormwater. So.
Perfect. Okay. And sanitation, if we can as well, that would be great too. Thank you.
Sanitation is definitely on the list. Zach?
That's also in the works.
Okay, excellent, absolutely. Schedule B?
So Schedule B, just to explain this is where we are not increasing the department's budget, but what we are doing is we're moving funds from somewhere in their operating accounts just to the personal services, because based on our fiscal policies, that requires board approval.
Board approval. Yeah, so just to reflect that, so 51 personnel services, that's salaries. The BOC has to approve salary changes.
Correct.
But 52 is sort of just contracted services. So you're basically moving money up from 52 to 51.
Yeah, generally, I think in one, if you look at facilities, it's from the 57s, which is another category that is within their operating budget. It's just.
Okay. All right. Self-explanatory. Okay. All right. Looks like Schedule C is the last page.
Right, and so Schedule C, these are really just a few small items that came out of the CIP committee that we, just based on speaking with departments, we thought they were doable and something that needed to proceed. So it's funding several things here at Sam Street, and then also some of the bathrooms out at Fleet Management. Then there's a transfer switch at the Toby Grant Recreation Center, and then a generator at one of the police precincts. So
Okay. All right, Commissioner Long-Spears.
What do you mean by transfer switch?
I would have to you look at my notes for that because I don't
Sounds
recall.
electrical.
I believe so.
Are
Okay.
you in EE?
No.
It's what? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much for that.
And there is a generator at Toby Grant?
I will check on that, but I would assume so.
No, but that's the next
They're
step
asking
is
for
to.
it, right.
What we've done, especially because we use it as a warming
Yeah.
center, is we've, I believe, purchased, or we're in the process of purchasing a generator so that if we have an activation and we lose power,
Right.
instead of moving all the people, we can provide a generator.
Okay.
So we've added a transfer
Great, that's a
switch.
great idea.
We want to do it there, and we've done one at 4380,
So that it basically plug into a portable generator?
big one.
A big one, you're right. Yeah, the big guy. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no other questions, comments, I'll take a motion for this item.
Yes, I move to approve item 2025-1781.
I will
The
second.
substitute.
Okay. And I will second for purposes of advancing this to the full board, but we'll expect the budget detail on Schedule A prior to the meeting on Tuesday.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Yes, and I'll sort of second that thought because I know Commissioner Messiah was wanting more details and she's not here. So, yeah, if you can just give us the high level, TJ, and the things that are important. Last question I had: so you mentioned several fund balance increases across different funds. What's the total increase in fund balance? I know that's been a goal of the CEO to start increasing that fund balance. So what's the takeaway headline for how much we're increasing the fund
I
balance?
can give you that number. I don't have it, on the top of my head. So it's usually when we're talking about the fund balance goals, we're talking about for the tax funds. Although we do, talk about it for some of the other funds. But we can let you know, kind of how the tax funds, what we think it's going to be year end. If just going through this, you can see that a lot of them had some small increases. We are decreasing the fund balances for the reserves for the designated services due to some of the transfers and some of the overages there. But I believe the unincorporated fund is going up, and those two are kind of, we used to call them the three sisters, them and police, because they're all kind of connected, and we can somewhat fungible there. So we'll get you those numbers, and that'll also be part of the budget proposal for 26 as well, sort of an update of where we are and
Gotcha.
where we think we're going.
Okay, great. All right, motion and second. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Chair votes aye, motion carries. All right, thanks, TJ.
So you'll have better at the end of the year.
Let's go. Okay, so we have a couple discussion items. I know that Director Paxton is here from the DeKalb Public Health Department. Come on up, Director, to the forward mic. Come on this side, around the rope line, and come on up to the front podium. And do you have the handout for the public health nursing position? Or Director Paxton, if you have any handouts, let us
Well,
know.
I have something better than a handout. I have Dr. Ruza here,
Okay.
who is going to be, she's in the best position to give you more information about
Okay,
this.
great. All right. Please introduce yourself to the commissioners, and yes, we'd love to hear your request today.
Sure. Hi, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Annie Ruza. I'm the Director of Infectious Disease and Refugee Health at DeKalb Public Health. What we're requesting is to be able to allocate the 5 county-funded nursing positions to across different programs, and for it not to be limited to one program. So when those positions were funded and established, we expected about 9,818 refugees, with 92% of these refugees settling in DeKalb County. Since then, we've had the suspension of refugee resettlement, and then right now the FY 2026 limits of about 7,500 refugees. So we've gone from, screening about 280 refugees per month last year to right now between 0 and 5. I think in August and September, October, it was 1 each, and we've had 0 for the past 2. So what we've done, because of all the refugees that we screened, when we screened them, we screened for different medical issues, and some of them have tested positive for TB. So they would need further evaluation. So we've allocated 2 of these nurses within the TB clinic, because it's TB refugee program, to review about 900 LTBIs that we're working through the list based on these screenings. But now with Ryan White, we're having some needs for nursing positions. So because of 340B revenue loss that we've had, savings loss that we've had, and on these 340B org budget, this is where some of our nursing employees, some of those splits were. So because of those lost, we've had to move it to Part A funding, because our Ryan White clinic is funded by Ryan White Part A, Part C. We have 340B funding as well. Because of those lost, we've moved some of these splits to Ryan White Part A funding, which put a lot more burden on our Ryan White Part A funding. We didn't really receive a great increase in the amount of money that we were awarded. So that put some burden on the Ryan White Part A. So because of that, we ended up having to inactivate a few positions. Right now in the Ryan White Clinic, we only have 1 hourly nurse and no nursing supervisor. So we're really in great need of nurses in the Ryan White Clinic. Also, with the rate of STDs in DeKalb County, one of the projects that we started is outreach program to go and do testing, mobile testing in the county. So we would also allocate 2 nurses to that project. So this is the request that we're making, that those 5 county funded nurse positions are not just limited to the refugee program, but they can be allocated to other programs, which technically would still be within IDRH, but that's what we're requesting. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. And Zach, if it's okay if I can bring you into this discussion as well. So what the DeKalb Public Health Department is requesting is, because the refugee resettlement program has basically been suspended, the nurses that we funded don't have much work to do. But there is other work to be done within DeKalb Public Health that could be in the Ryan White Clinic, in community outreach. I think y'all discussed using the mobile vans that we got during COVID.
Yes.
So the nurses could go out for community events and community outreach.
Yes.
And TJ, maybe I could also ask you to weigh in here. My hope today is that we can get some acknowledgement that we don't want these nurses to just be sort of waiting in the refugee clinic for the next few months while we approve next year's budget. Can we go ahead and sort of, if we have to do a budget amendment, TJ, or something by next Tuesday, so that y'all have just sort of the blessing to reallocate those positions so they can do the productive work and not have to have you wait till the March 1st budget.
Yeah.
Did I capture that?
That's exactly.
Yes, that is exactly.
Okay, great. Committee members, any questions, comments? Commissioner Johnson.
Dr. Paxton, good to see you in person.
Yeah, thank you.
We met virtually just yesterday, so thank you for the heads up and the conversation on this item. And I think this is a good way to pivot when we're responding to the federal regulations that are coming down. So I'm in support of this, but I am, to the chair's point, curious on what that action exactly needs to look like to make sure that we're doing it properly. So.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Commissioner Long-Spears.
Thank you. I echo the comments of Commissioner Johnson. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and I fully support whatever your needs are so that you can certainly provide the services to the people that need it. You did say something. I just want to make sure I understood you. You said mobile. Is that what you said earlier? So for 2 for the mobile?
Mobile clinic, yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yes.
And then
For outreach purposes.
Go ahead.
No, I just said for outreach purposes.
Yes, absolutely. Understood. And then you made a statement. You said with the rate of STDs.
Yes.
Are you implying that rate has increased? Are you seeing spikes in STDs?
So I have some numbers.
You got a lot of numbers, so.
Well, good for you. All right. I tend to be the one that asks more detailed questions.
Yeah, so I have data, age-adjusted rates between 2018 and 2023. So we've had a 9.7% net increase in chlamydia within DeKalb County, 42.7% net increase in gonorrhea. Syphilis has gone down a little bit, 27% decrease, but we still have increase in chlamydia and gonorrhea. And also, there is in HIV positive individuals, there is an increase in TB. So being able to go out there and do some of the patients that we get in Ryan White, for example, some of them are lost to care, and when we're able to recapture them and get them into care, we're able to prevent a lot of these and address them if they have these issues.
All right, and I recognize this is not the right committee to be asking these questions because it's our FAB committee, not our PECs. But did you say 97% increase in chlamydia?
No.
No,
9.7. Okay,
No,
I just
not
didn't put the
9%.
point down.
No, 9.7%.
And gonorrhea was 4.2?
42.7%.
42.7. Oh, my goodness.
And this is for data between 2018 and 2023.
Okay, all right. Well, I might reach out to y'all offline to learn a little bit more. Thank you so
Sure.
much. Yield back.
All right, great, thank you. Zach, just in terms of giving sort of any approval we might need for them to make this change, I imagine since they're still salaries, there's not like a 52 to 51 change like we did in the other agenda items, but what do you need from us that would kind of give the blessing for them to move forward with this as soon as possible?
So just thinking it through, Commissioner, the fact that the funds have already been allocated, and I don't know how specifically we laid out that the nurses shall only do these things, as long as, in my mind, as long as the funds are still being spent on nurses to provide public health, we're probably okay.
Okay. And then TJ, just so I understand, so the public health department's blue sheet, I guess, are there any changes that need to be made on that? Or are they allowed to, take a refugee nurse in the blue sheet and move it over to a different line item?
So the blue sheet is just kind of an internal document that we use. It doesn't really govern necessarily how they are able to use the funding. It's what we use to communicate, what our recommendations are to the board and to the public. So I don't think there's anything that requires our action in order for them to be able to use those funds differently.
Okay, understand. And so I think the answer I'm hearing is y'all are good. You don't necessarily need action from us today, although it was great just to have that check-in. So we're aware what's happening, and it's good to tell the public that, the refugee clinic isn't seeing many people because the refugees aren't coming, and so it's good to reallocate those positions to community health. So, Director Paxton, are you good with that?
We absolutely are. We just want to be absolutely certain that we want to be good stewards of all the resources that are given to us, and we feel that this is the right thing to do, is to pivot, because outside forces are basically, forcing us to do so.
Yes.
But we wanted to make sure that we had your blessing.
Yes, I think you do.
Like that. So thank you very much. We're very appreciative.
Absolutely. I think, Zach, you had one more thing to say?
Yes, so what I would offer is that in the 26 budget, that Dr. Paxton and her team simply articulate, here's what we're going to do with the funds this year. And so we will no longer expect the line of services that we had been paying for, but there will be a new line of service. Here's the outcomes we can anticipate.
Okay, excellent. All right, so we'll look forward to having that updated in the 2026 budget. I think y'all can put that together and get it to TJ, and then certainly we can, receive it when we get the CEO's budget and talk about next year.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all. Keep up the good work. All right, thank you, committee members, for entertaining that. All right, let's bring up Fabio from Claritel and his team. And Fabio, you can come on to the front podium, please. And so today we just wanted to hear from Claritel regarding their most up-to-date proposal for the DeKalb Regional Crisis Center. And this is related to future CIP and SPLOST 2 funding requests. And so because it's sort of a budget consideration, I wanted to give this opportunity for us to hear from Claritel. So I'll turn it over to you, Fabio.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. I'm actually going to pass the mic to Dr. Shetley Chester. She's our Chief Operating Officer for Claritel Behavioral Health, and she's been intimately involved in looking at our crisis facility and the needs at that facility. So, turn it over to you.
All right. And Zach, this is for you also.
All right. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you so much for having us here and allowing us to speak with you just briefly about our DeKalb Regional Crisis Center. I think you all have the full PowerPoint, so I
don't know if we have it printed out.
Okay.
But we will. But we have it on the screen, and we'll get it emailed around everyone.
Okay, so I'll kind of fly through it because it's kind of lengthy. So
You got 10 minutes.
So basically, our facility is an older facility, and it was originally designed with the information and the research that was present at that time. But since, 30 years almost, more research has come through. We have been able to learn from, what others have done in this field, and we had to take a step back and look at our facility to see if the facility was really able to meet the needs of the services that we have to provide within that facility, given the footprint that it has. And our general considerations when doing so were kind of the basics. Is this facility safe for the individuals that we serve, for the staff that have to work there? Does it provide the workflow in the floor plan that we have to support the 3 levels of service that we provide within that facility, which is like the crisis service center, which is anybody can walk in and be assessed and get brief solution focused crisis intervention services, maybe even some family therapy or individual, then temporary observation, which allows us to actually monitor an individual for up to 23 hours and 59 minutes to see if that individual is now a candidate to be returned to the community with wraparound supports and outpatient treatment, or is this somebody that actually needs to be in our care for a short-term crisis stabilization degree of services. So that's 3 very unique services that we're providing under one roof, and each level of service has its own, requirements and standards, but also therapeutic and workflow needs. So what we did was we kind of looked at the current facility and started at the very basics. We kind of did the Maslow thing. We looked at if someone is coming in here to be stabilized from a psychiatric crisis or in need of detox services, how do we meet the very basics, and that's safety. And as you can see, in this facility we have several ligature risks.
Strangulation. Is that what that's the?
Yes.
Define
Yes.
those.
Yes.
Basically, there's ways that someone experiencing a crisis could harm themselves just on basic fixtures.
Fixtures, yes, within the facility. Even our community restrooms are filled with ligature risks. So that was level 1, very basic. Level 2, again, around safety considerations are barriers to oversight. With the current floor plan, if you look at my arrows, you can see from the nurses' station there are several barriers to line of sight. So there are several places on the unit where nurses can't even see the clients. Now, we've had to deal with that by putting mirrors and things, but at the end of the day, it's not like having direct line of sight when you're caring for individuals. Even our tech station doesn't have direct line of sight for full coverage on the unit. And here are some of the other very basic, obstructions that we even have from the nurses' station. Not only is it not glass all the way around, we got half doors, so there's a lot of area of risk associated with that, and not to mention the doorknobs themselves are ligature risks. And this is what the nurses see from the inside of the station, so they're basically not even able to see half the unit when they're sitting there working. More, line of sight issues here from the tech station. And then we move on to, this is how we've had to kind of improvise in the meantime with the mirrors, but as you can see there, you can't even make out honestly what you're looking at. This is kind of what happens sometimes when you can't see. what's around the corner. Clients get, creative, and they try to get out because it is a locked facility. And then there's damages that have to be repaired.
Did someone try to climb to the roof or the ceiling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's our temporary observation unit, and again, it's kind of the same issue. If I'm sitting in a nurse's station, I cannot even see who's going into the bathroom, which is really not a good thing. And this is their view from the nurse's station, which is even kind of worse because there's physical obstructions in some of the load-bearing walls that are in that unit. And then last but not least, there are barriers to workflow. And I'm not going to really get into all of the details with the workflow because that will require me to have to go through the workflow. But what I can say is the way the floor plan exists right now, it does not support the 3 services that we provide, and it doesn't even support transition from one level of care to the other. And unfortunately, it's not even conducive to law enforcement drop-offs or EMR. We have one way into this building, basically, and that's the front door. So everybody is coming in the front door, whether you're on a bed or you're in, handcuffs, or you're walking in off the street. We're all coming in the same way. So, and these are just, more of the not so nice things. Our medication room, our med nurse can barely turn around in it. And then there's just the general condition of the building. And these are some of the pictures of where clients are being served. So I will spare you all the rest of these photos.
Yeah. The building has been continuously operated for 30 plus years.
For 30 years, yes. Yeah. And so what we have done, if y'all close your eyes, I'll spare y'all that,
yes.
is we have been working with an architect and a contractor to at least fix what we see as the highest priority, and those are those communal restrooms and the nurses station in the crisis stabilization unit and the line of sight issues. But what we have not touched is really anything in the front of the building. So all of those issues that we talked about with line of sight and access for different levels of care arriving through different means, law enforcement, EMR, et cetera, are not addressed in these repairs. And we also have every restroom being upgraded to ADA compliance because none of the restrooms were ADA compliant.
Yeah.
Just another quick minute, if you don't mind, and we'll open up for questions.
Okay.
We originally we were hoping to get a brand new facility that we could design from the ground up, and we did have a design for that new facility that would meet all the requirements. That was 2 years ago when we started this process, and so it got to a point where we had to do something now to the current facility. Otherwise, we were at risk of having situations where we would have to close down beds or close down actual whole units. So we started that process to renovate the current facility. Now, after the last Board of Commissioners meetings, I think it was identified that the county is not moving forward with utilizing that $15 million in SPLOST 2 funds for us to build a new building for us. So now that puts us in a situation where we have to probably do more than just fix the safety issues, but look at doing additional renovations to the building to get it to last, as long as we can get it to last, to support DeKalb County and crisis services. So it's going to take a lot more than what we initially thought, because now we're going to have to stay in that building for a lot longer than we were originally planning to. So if the full $15 million isn't going to be used for a brand new facility, that for us to be able to allocate some of that funds to at least do a full renovation of the current facility to get it to a point where we can actually deliver the services that we need to deliver it,
Yes.
and to be able to maintain it long term.
Okay. And then do y'all have an estimate of what you'll need to fully renovate the existing crisis center to be compliant?
We're looking at, right now, the current work we're doing was about 1.6 million.
Okay.
So the additional work we would be doing is at the front of the building, so we're looking probably at another, anywhere between 1.4 and another 1.6 million to do the front end of the building.
Okay.
So you're looking at, probably, 3.2 million, 3.4 million to do the whole facility.
Okay.
And there's other things we would like to do. Like right now, the only outdoor space clients get is what's the square footage? It's
That little small patio on the side there.
It's a little patio.
Yeah, with the high walls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we would like more outdoor space, at least a place where we have stairs to go down to the bottom of the building. So there's things, but we're looking at, 3.2 to 3.4 million for the rest of it. And obviously we would have to work with the architect and to design that space to get a final quote on that.
Okay. Let me ask commissioners if they have any questions, comments. Commissioner Johnson?
I guess my only question or comment is what is the thought process on funding and getting this completed, because it's critical work. So I don't know if that's a question for you guys or for administration, but what do we see the next steps being?
That's a great question. Zach, can you, just because we did talk about the $15 million allocated in that mental and physical health facilities SPLOST 2 line item, County Attorney Phillips did share, in essence, what that meant in terms of the legislation and the referendum. And I think y'all had indicated, Zach, there were some other facilities that it seemed like were priorities, and I might argue this is also a pretty big priority. Sure. Because, as we saw, there's some things that are not in compliance, falling apart, et cetera. And so how would y'all like to receive the request from Claritel for that SPLOST 2 funding?
Well, exactly kind of like this. And thanks to the work of Fabio, and thank you for the presentation. Unfortunately, I recognize that this is not the only facility in similar condition. And so I think our conversation really needs to be, as it relates to those funds, how can we best restore the facilities that we have to bring them up to a condition that it's something that we feel comfortable standing behind, because I know that a number of our facilities are simply not there. So we'll just need to go through and prioritize not only the needs for the crisis center, but there are other facilities in their portfolio that we need to have the same conversation about. Okay. And kind of prioritize and have the same conversation with Dr. Passion, with the health department, okay, and really look at how can we maximize the funds that we have to make the greatest impact to maintain the facilities that we have to use day in and day out.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, does that
Yes, that
provide some light? Okay. And I guess just because I know y'all are working on the CIP list, Zach, for the next 5 years, and obviously part of that funding is SPLOST 2, and this, with the idea that this originally was for a new crisis center, but we're kind of pivoting now, and is there, hopefully y'all are leaning towards saying that the priority funding for SPLOST 2 mental health and physical facilities would hopefully be the existing crisis center, since that was the original intent. Right. So how we allocated those funds.
Right. What I would propose is having a specific conversation with Claritel, with Department of Public Health, and our facilities, especially because, and I mentioned last time, the facilities assessment that we're doing. Okay. So we can take a look at the data that we have, the needs of the facilities, and just prioritize the spend, and then come back to the board. And the money will go fairly quickly, but the goal will be to make a significant impact when we do spend it.
Okay. All right. So is it fair just to, for Claritel and your office, CO Williams, kind of fine-tune the budget request for SPLOST 2, I think, would be the first priority, and I guess that's part of the larger CIP plan.
Yes.
And then it sounds like because there's some Claritel and public health joint buildings, there might be some things that are already on the radar,
Yeah.
right, Fabio, that I think y'all are wanting to work on as well.
Yeah. So we've worked with DeKalb Public Health in identifying the buildings that we share, and each of us have put together plans for renovations of those facilities.
Okay.
So we have that we've been in discussion for about a year on those plans. So we can present them to the county to say, here's.
Okay.
And we're familiar with a lot of that.
Okay, excellent. Well, I think that's pretty much all we wanted to discuss today. So, Fabio, Chesley, thank you so much for the presentation. And if y'all could share the the updated proposal for this with the commissioners, just so we're aware. Okay. And then hopefully, Zach, if y'all can take that into consideration for the 2026 budget. It seems like we'd like to hopefully move forward with some of these pretty important upgrades and renovations.
I think so, and probably the first quarter.
First quarter. Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you all so much. All right, Commissioner, we are down to 2. But I think we just have one last item. That's the appointment of Ms. Kathleen Andrews,
Yes.
proposed 4. So I'll open the floor for that item.
Yes, I move to approve item 1780.
All right, I'll second. No discussion. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Congratulations, Ms. Andrews.
Oh, she stayed around.
She stayed
Kathleen.
around.
Hey, all right. Thank you. All right, and we'll have you at the next. We'll advance this to the full board next Tuesday for the final approval. And then we didn't get to the Water Customer Bill of Rights, and so we'll just have to pick that up next year, Commissioner Johnson. So with that, I believe we are good. And sorry, Diane, for running out of time. So we'll check back in on those financial statements in 2026.
That's fine.
Okay.
And do we have these emailed? I know we have the handouts, but do we have them emailed
Diane,
as well?
would you mind emailing the financial statements to everyone? Okay. All right. I'll open the floor for a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
All right. Second. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all so much. Have a good day.